Hello, Journey Kids. It's story time again with Mr. Neal. Today's story comes from 2 Samuel chapter 9, and it's the story of Mephibosheth, which is very difficult to say, but it's a story of great, awesome kindness and a gift. And so, in order to tell today's story, we have to do a little bit of background. So, I don't know if you remember or not, but Saul was Israel's first king, and he started out really, really well. He would listen to God, he did what God asked him to do, and he built up this nation of Israel, and he was very blessed. But eventually, Saul started to kind of do things his own way. He didn't think he needed God, and so he started kind of doing things the way that he wanted to do them rather than the way that God wanted him to do things. And so things kind of started to go bad. And God decided, you know what? Let me put a king on the throne that is after my own heart. And so he looked and found David. And Samuel came and anointed David to be the next king. There was just one problem, though. Saul wasn't dead yet. So you have Saul as the king and David as the anointed king to come. And obviously that caused a lot of friction. And so Saul actually kind of hunted down David and tried to kill him on a couple of occasions. And the story is really about Saul's son. His son's name was Jonathan. And Jonathan and David were best friends. I don't know if you have a best friend or a bestie or whatever you call them, but Jonathan and David were best friends. And towards the end of Jonathan's life, he said to David, "Hey, I know you're going to be the king. And so I want you to promise me that you will take care of my family when I'm not here anymore." And David said, "I can do that. I promise. I will take care of your family if you're not here to take care of them." And so sure enough, Saul and Jonathan go to battle, and they're killed, and David becomes king. And so David's sitting there on the throne one day, and he remembers this promise that he made to his best friend. And so he goes looking, and he finds a servant of Saul's, a servant of Saul's. His name was Ziba. And he says, "Hey, Ziba, are there any of Saul's family or Jonathan's family still alive?" And he says, "Yes, there is one son, his youngest son. He was injured when he was a very young boy, and so now he's crippled in both feet and can't walk. But his name is Mephibosheth." And so David says, "Go get him. Go get him." And so Ziba goes and finds Mephibosheth and brings him to the castle. And Mephibosheth is scared. He is afraid that David is going to kill him. He thinks that David is going to completely remove Jonathan's line, so there's no threat to his throne and that kind of thing. And so he really he thinks that he's being brought to the castle to be killed. And so he comes in and he lays down and worship and bows to the king, and David can see that he's very scared. And so he tells him, "Look, you don't have to be afraid. Me and your dad, we were best friends. And I made him a promise a long time ago that I would take care of his family. And you're all that's left. And so I'm going to take care of you like you're one of my own children. And so I want you to move here to Jerusalem. And I want you to come live in my castle. And I want you to come eat at my table. And I want to treat you like a son. And not only that, but I'm going to give you back all of Saul's lands and all of Saul's servants. And they will be under your command. And they will harvest the fields and plant the fields, and they will take care of the crops and the animals and the livestock, and they will take care of you for the rest of your life." And so Mephibosheth is like in complete awe. Like he is absolutely amazed at the kindness of David. He thought he was being brought to the castle to be killed, and instead he is given this immaculate, amazing gift. And it is just the most amazing kindness that he had ever experienced. And so you might ask yourself, well, why is that story in the Bible? So remember, there's two reasons that the Old Testament we still read the Old Testament. One is because it shows us what God is like. It shows us the character of God. And the second is because it points to Jesus, right? And so how does this story show the character of God? God is kind, and God gives amazing, wonderful gifts, and more than we ever deserve, more gifts than we could ever possibly deserve. And one of those was Jesus, his son. And so he gave us the most amazing, incredible gift ever, his son, who lived on the earth and died on a cross so that all of our sins could be forgiven. And so we are kind of like Mephibosheth. We don't really deserve it. We didn't really do anything to deserve it. But we have been given the most amazing gift ever in Jesus. And so that's what this story is all about in 2 Samuel 9. I encourage you to read it and read about Mephibosheth. Good luck pronouncing his name because it's not very easy. But it's an amazing story about an amazing gift and amazing kindness. And hopefully when you read it, you will see just a glimpse of God's character in the story and see how it points forward to Jesus. Thank you very much for listening to today's story, and hope to see you all soon in church. Have a great week.